Stardust Crusaders is a great JoJo's part, but I would also say it had the best stands. The 5 main characters of the part all had their own stands, Jotaro's being Star Platinum. This is definitely one of my favorite JoJo stands and one of the best stands in this part. His stand is very strong and fast. It's known for being one of the fastest stands, and I just really like the design of it. He has black hair, similar to Jotaro's, and is purple with a very muscular build. Joseph Joestar has Hermit Purple in this part. It's a bit of an unusual stand, since Joseph was using Hamon before only, so it's not as much of a stand, or it's not as advanced, it seems, as a lot of the stands during this part. He can use it to shock people with Hamon, as well as travel and use it to grab things. Polnareff's stand is Silver Chariot. This is another one of my favorite stands. His stand is a knight, so pretty much wearing completely silver armor. I like the design for this stand, and he always fights with a sword and is just a really good sword fighter. Kokyuin's stand is Hierophant Green. This stand can hold on to things and tie them up sort of like a snake, but it's also got a decent speed and launches emeralds and has an ability called Emerald Splash. This stand kind of reminds me of Green Lantern because of the fact that green's in the name and because of the stand's design, it being green and glowing. I think this is one of the most unique stand designs for a main character in any part, and it's definitely up there as one of my favorite stands. Next is Avdol's Witch's Magician's Red. This is definitely one of my favorite stands. I think that it's got an amazing design. It's got the head of a red bird, and the body or torso is featherless and kind of just looks like a human's torso that is muscular. Its ability is fire, so this stand can launch and throw fire at people, setting them on fire or controlling fire and make it spin around people continuously so they're trapped in fire, even pull them with the fire and grab onto them. And the stand is just quite strong. Also, Avdol being the stand user that uses Magician's Red makes it even better because he is quite smart and is great at using it. So starting off, all the main characters I would say have unique and pretty good stands, except for maybe Joseph, because his stand's not that powerful or it's a bit unadvanced, but I would still say it's cool. However, other than Joseph, the other 4 main characters have some of my favorite stands in all of JoJo's. So already this part seems incredibly strong when it comes to how good the stands are. And during this part, they went up against so many different stand users that were sent by Dio, and all these stand users had their own unique stand, and I feel like they all made for great fights and episodes against the main characters. Whether it was one of the first ones was Dark Blue Moon, which was a sea stand, and he controlled the water in the ocean and could make whirlpools and drown people and stuff like that. And he was just extremely powerful under the water, which gave the main characters a big challenge. Definitely a very memorable stand for me, just because of how powerful he seemed in the water. He could have pretty much taken on and defeated all of the main characters if they were all in the water. If everything went right, there's just a good chance that there's no other character in JoJo's that is as strong and overpowered in the water. The enemy stand user they go against right after this is Forever, and he has the stand which is called Strength. His stand is a large possessed ship which he can use to trap the main characters and whoever's on it. I feel like it's just such a unique stand, the fact that his entire stand is a ship that they're in, so he can pretty much have them completely within his stand and just have such a big advantage is amazing. He has a stand that I feel like future JoJo's characters should have stands like. The first stand Polnareff went up against was Ebony Devil. This stand is a doll, and I remember it trapping Polnareff out of nowhere under a bed. It's a long range stand. Once the doll is possessed, it becomes a lot more powerful and strong, and I just found it to be a very unique stand because it pretty much possesses different objects, and we got to see it possess a doll. And the fight it had up against Polnareff was kind of just memorable for how crazy it seemed. Him getting tied underneath out of nowhere a bed, and then the bed falling on top of him and stuff. Another stand I remember very well was Yellow Temperance, which was a stand right after the previous stand. And the stand was actually pretending to be Cockyween, and he can make himself look like other people. The stand has yellow slime, and when someone else comes in contact with it, it will slowly dissolve them. A stand that I always think about when I think about stands from part 3, one of the first ones I think of is the Lovers. It's some guy who was able to control Joseph and make him feel everything that happens to him, but Joseph will feel it even stronger. So if the Lovers takes damage or gets kicked, the damage inflicted on Joseph will be even greater. And the stand user was just annoying Jotaro the entire time, and then kept begging for forgiveness. And he was just a stand user that was so annoying, kept teasing Jotaro, and you just wanted him to get beat up. I remember him saying, "Jotaro, what's wrong? Use your body to fill in the gap, and I'll cross you and use you as a bridge." And then he would cross him as forcefully as possible, stomping on his head and putting all his weight on him. He just kept teasing him, and I found his personality very interesting. I always just enjoy him, and he's one of the stand users in this part that I definitely enjoyed the most. Another stand that I always think about, and I would say the Lovers and now this stand are probably the two that I think of the most out of all the enemy stand users as some of the ones I like the most and the ones that are just the most memorable, which is Death 13. It's a baby stand user, and everyone thinks Cockyween's going insane because he keeps having nightmares and doesn't remember them. And then he actually carved on his arm while in the dream, so when he woke up, he tried to show them what he had carved with a knife into his arm, and they all thought he was crazy and didn't believe what he was saying. And then they thought he was attacking the baby because he was crazy, but it was because he actually knew it was a stand user. But nobody believed him, and they all thought he was crazy, or at least it seemed. The baby stand user has a world in your dreams where he controls everything in the dream around you, and unless you have your stand out before you fall asleep, you won't be able to have your stand in the dream. So you're pretty much screwed unless you wake up. However, Cockyween fell asleep with his stand out, so everybody realized that Cockyween was right when they were in this dream, and he ended up defeating the baby stand user. However, everyone forgot what happened in the dream when they woke up except for Cockyween, and this led to him taking advantage of the baby, maybe not beating up the stand user or hurting him like they do most of the time, but actually putting his own poo in his food so that Joseph feeds it to him, knowing that the baby stand user is aware of this. Pretty much his way at getting back at this enemy stand user. I also thought that Death 13's design was very cool, and it really did fit how I would imagine a baby stand to look, because it kind of looked like a magical stand and almost like some sort of Disney character or just something from a Disney movie. So I thought it fit the baby very well. There were many other good enemy stand users they had to go up against, like Whole Horse, who had the stand Emperor, or Darby, who was a gambler with the stand Osiris. There's also Talents T Darby, which is the other Darby's brother, but also Dio's butler. And those are just 3 other stand users during this part that I thought were very good. And of course there's even more, so many other unique stand users during this part. However, the last great stand of this part is Dio's, the world, of course. His stand has an amazing design. It's gold, muscular, and just fits his character very well. It's extremely fast like Jotaro's and very strong and powerful physically, even seeming to slightly surpass Jotaro's, and has an amazing ability, which is the ability to stop time. Definitely in my top 5 favorite stands of all of JoJo's. And I would actually say all 5 of my favorite stands are in this part. Star Platinum, The World, Magician's Red, Silver Chariot, and then maybe after that either Hierophant Green or Death 13. hard to pick between those two, which I would have in the number 5 spot. But I also like Bucciarati's stand from part 5, which is Sticky Fingers. I like the design for his stand a lot, as well as the ability how he can put zippers on any surface, and his stand is very fast. So maybe I would have that as my number 5, but it's hard for me to pick just between these three. However, clearly part 3 has some amazing stands. I feel like it's one of the best aspects of this part, and they did a really good job introducing them in this part. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you agree with me? Does Stardust Crusaders have the best stands? What is your favorite stand in JoJo's Part 3? And I'll see you in the next video.